Telkom, moving with you.
Indeed, good afternoon. Welcome. This is KTN Business Today. My name is Peter Okaba, and over the next 1 hour, we'll endeavor to bring you up to speed on matters making business headlines, not just here in Kenya, but indeed across the region and right across the world. Today, we are coming to you from several different places, of course, bringing you up to speed on the political situation that continues to unfold towards the election. Of course, NASA team is live in Narok. We will, of course, be going live to that event as it continues to unfold. What exactly is the situation on the ground? Our crew is, well, hot on the tail of the politicians on that event and will be coming to us live from that area. That, of course, is later on. Also on this show, the fact that we have an update for you on Kenya's early oil export scheme. What is the status? Well, a press conference a few minutes ago by the CS for Energy. Well, Mr. Kiter put that into perspective. We'll be bringing an update on that as the show continues. Also here today with us in studio to discuss the upcoming World Cooperative Day, of course, vis-a-vis the political situation and the manifestos that have been put out. What is the linkage between SMEs, livelihoods, and the cooperative movement? Two experts in studio. They will, of course, be on later on in the show to talk about what exactly is the perspective on that. Ali Nur, he is the CS for, well, he is the BS rather for cooperatives and is an expert ready to lend us his expert perspective on that. He is accompanied by the person in charge of the cooperative movement here in Nairobi. She is also here to be able to give us insight into what to expect on Saturday and, of course, what is being done to drive that forward. Well, as usual, we are coming to you from the internet, and today we have a tweetable question, and we are asking you to talk to us. Of course, the fact of the matter is that we are interactive, and the hashtag is KTN Business Today. So do go out there, talk to us, give us your feedback. The hashtag is Business Today. Reach out to us on @KTN News. You can, of course, reach me directly on @Peter Okaba. And the question of the day is, do you think the government was overly ambitious with the early oil program? Again, do you think the government was overly ambitious with the early oil program? Give us your perspective on that, and we will be sampling that conversation as the show does go on. Well, to our first story of the day now, and Kenya's early oil export pilot scheme lies in tatters barely a day to the self-imposed deadline to start transporting oil for export by road from Turkana, with oil explorer Tullow now threatening to suspend its operations in Turkana over insecurity. The latest developments have set off a chain reaction that is expected to see the government announce suspension of the export plan, as happened just a few minutes ago. Indicate that for close to a month now, Tullow employees have been unable to gain access to two of its sites, where 40,000 barrels of oil that form the first batch of export crude that is supposed to be transported to Mombasa is stored. Tullow, in a letter sent to the Turkana County Commissioner, protested at what it called economic sabotage. Its employees have been barred from accessing Nakulula's Tullow Community Resource Center, Ngamia 3 and Ngamia 8 oil fields. Ngamia 3 and 8, we have established, have the 40,000 barrels of already pumped crude, which is stored in tanks awaiting evacuation. They were to form the first batch of Kenya's oil find to be transported to the coast on this coming Saturday. Further, one of the 7 companies contracted to upgrade the Kitale-Turkana Road, which leads to the oil fields, has suspended works after 3 of its employees were attacked. In a letter sent to the Kenya National Highways Authority, Kenya, Rala Construction on May the 20th said it had discontinued the construction of the road upgrade to the oil fields until the security of its staff was guaranteed. This was after one of its employees sustained gunshot wounds in the said attack. The events have added more controversy to what is turning out to be an oil curse for the country, even before full exploitation of the sought-after resource. A source familiar with the goings-on said it is suspected that the banditry against the oil scheme is political and is meant to stall the process by creating fear.
Stakeholders, wote wa mafuta walielewana ugawaji wa rasilimali ya mafuta. Na hii ndio bunge ilipitisha na mkataba ukaja kwako kuweka sahihi. Pingamizi yetu ni upunguzaji ya rasilimali ya percentage.
Mimi napitisha sheria, ni bunge. Mimi ni kuweka naweka kidole. Alafu mjinga anakuja kusema hapa ati mimi nafanya mambo ya hiyo siwezi. Na msiwe watu ambao mtasikia porojo. Mkisikia mambo ya porojo, sio Uhuru atapotea, ni nyinyi mtapotea.
Turkana leaders have been pushing for 10% of the oil share benefit, but the government wants it reduced to some 5%. In January, President Uhuru Kenyatta declined to assent to the Petroleum Exploration and Production Bill. Peter Wakaba, KTN News. Well, of course, we can reliably inform you that just a few minutes ago, the government has indeed postponed the move to start exporting oil from Turkana. Of course, this is ostensibly to, well, enable them have time to put in place the legal requirements, including the law that will govern the, well, revenue sharing, among other things. Of course, that story there, having tried to put into perspective the background that has led to the situation we are in today. Well, moving away from oil, but staying in the same general area, the government will take initiative with irrigation programs to boost food security, alleviate poverty, conserve the environment, and increase access to clean water, spearheaded by regional development authorities or RDAs. Now, pledging to prioritize and increase funding to these parastatals. Well, Elvis Kosgei now reports from Takwel.
While addressing the press after visiting Takwel and Oiwei, Principal Secretary State Department Planning and Statistics Irungu Nyakera observed that regional development authorities have performed exemplary in engaging communities and improving their livelihoods. According to Nyakera, Kerio Valley Development Authority has done well in establishing projects like Napua and Oiwei irrigation schemes in Turkana and West Pokot counties.
Because these are projects that are purely geared towards relieving the issues of food security, guaranteeing water for the populace, and so these are projects and programs that are very critical to the government and as part of the manifesto fulfillment.
Lower Takwel project, as you know, is a project that should have been done about 27 years ago. And the Jubilee government now is looking at implementing it, that 5,000 hectares that would be very appropriate for a cash crop, at the same time also crops for food security. And the plan is to have 30,000 nuclears, which will be used for sugarcane farming, and 5,000 hectares that will be given to community to plan their food crops.
The government plans to prioritize authorities to roll out similar flagship projects, including construction of multi-purpose dams to increase access to water and ensure the 350,000 hectares under its area are gradually put under irrigation.
We've so far visited two projects. The first one was the Takwel Gorge project, Takwel Dam, where we are looking at an irrigation program that could cover about 35,000 hectares. And then today we are now presently at the Weiwei irrigation project, which, as you know, that phase was launched by the president last year.
We've been getting about 1,000 tons, and with the phase 3 being ready, this should have the annual production to about 2,000 tons. And that would probably give the farmers here slightly over 160 to 200 million Kenyan shillings annually.
One of the other benefits of this project is, apart from food security, we are also working hard to make sure that it affects security situations, becomes an incentive for communities to live in peace, so that this cattle rustling and conflict that is prevalent in this region becomes a thing of the past. So you're trying to have a model where we can demonstrate to the rest of the country that when people have food and you engage them in these development projects, they can actually forge positive relationships, which will be useful in national cohesion and reconciliation.
Irungu Kimosop and KVDA Chairman Sam Kona later on surveyed a road in Elgeyo Marakwet, Takwel and Weiwei in West Pokot, where multipurpose dams are set to be constructed from July. Elvis Kosgei, KTN News, West Pokot County.
Well, moving on, banks are working closely with their association, the regulator, and the National Treasury to operationalize the new movable assets registry and the related law in order to make credit more affordable and accessible to Kenyans. According to NIC Bank CEO John Gashora, a lot of innovation will be required to enable Kenyans reap the full benefits as intended under the framework. He spoke as General Motors East Africa GMEA and NIC Bank announced an asset financing partnership that will see corporates, SMEs and individual customers access financing on Isuzu vehicles at a low interest rate of up to 13% for up to a period of 6 years. The partnership, which was announced at GMEA offices, will also see Isuzu customers receive a 60-day grace period on payments and one insurance cover for 1 year through Fidelity Insurance. This cover includes general cartage and excess protection for 1 year for all Isuzu trucks, FRR trucks, and both double and single cab D-Max pickups.
And to tell you the truth, the operationalization is still going on. The actual movable register, which is the basis upon which this law will operate, has actually not been put in place yet. We are working together with government. We are getting trained to ensure that when it comes into play, we are ready to use it. But I think it's something that will hopefully help the economy. There's still a few things to be ironed out. We cannot say that for sure it's 100% done. But we're working closely as industry players and with government to ensure that its intended effects are felt in the near future.
We have assessed the situation between the next 2 months and came up with a very innovative product that will cushion our customer during this election period in terms of continuing with their business